Think of Venice and you probably picture something like this. Black gondolas slipping along green canals between gracefully crumbling buildings. Unless you're a resident, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the gondola was the only Venetian rowing boat. But for hundreds of years, the Venice lagoon teemed with a variety of shapes and styles of boat. What they had in common up until the 20th century was that they were all adapted for these shallow waters and all rowed in the voga style that is unique to Venice. The invention of the inexpensive outboard motor in the 20th century proved so popular that the rowing skill of voga alla Veneta was nearly lost to the city. But some Venetians have been determined to keep the traditions alive. Now, the all-female team at the non-profit organisation Row Venice wants to help, not only to save the rowing style, but also an entire aquatic culture, which includes crafts such as boat building and oar making. Jane Caporal is the founder.
A tradition like that, if you don't pass it on, it's lost within a generation. You know, even if you think of just little things in your life, you know, like the cake your grandmother used to make or some special recipe, if it's not passed on, it's gone, that's it.
Raised in Australia, Caporal has lived in Venice for over 20 years. Her team of 20 women teaches tourists from around the world how to do voga. The type of boat they use is Batela a Coa de Gambaro, or a shrimp-tailed wooden boat, once the most popular style of boat in the city. Caporal picked it because it is more stable than the gondola and easier to maneuver. The traditional workboat was out of production, and the last master craftsman who knew how to make them had died. So, in order to get a replica made, the plans had to be sourced from the city's Naval History Museum. Gabriella Lazzari is one of Row Venice's instructors. Like most of the women who teach voga, she also races professionally, sponsored by Row Venice. The first thing she shows the tourists is the basic voga stroke for rowing a prua, at the prow of the boat. To avoid getting stuck on the shallow canal bottom, it's necessary to stand up and lean over as you row. The tourists head to the Venice lagoon, where they also try rowing a poppa, steering from the back of a boat like a gondolier. It's physically challenging, and they love it.
Hard, back aching, but really fun. I think people who want a different perspective of Venice should definitely do this, because we see like all the islands here, we're out in the lagoon. This is very different from the Rialto Bridge or being in the crowds. Yeah, this is very special.
And this is traditional stand-up voga, you know, vogare. It's the Venetian way of rowing, and these women are keeping the tradition alive by educating people, letting them experience it. And so I just love that part of it too, and that it's a traditional way to experience Venice in a whole nother way than just walking the streets and eating in the restaurants. I mean, it's really getting down to the Venetian side of things. So I love that.